With anime and our souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a group of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling events of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all you nerds out there. So grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience unlike any other. Brought to you, of course, by Anima We Studios. This is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Happy Monday to everybody out there. And yeah, we had Monday Night Raw tonight. Hailing from Madison Square Garden, good old New York City. Unfortunately, Vash was not able to make it out there, but that's fine. He had other things going on, mainly, family and I think he has some Law and Order stuff going on later on this week, but hey, that's besides the point. We're not here to talk about Vash. He's too busy worrying about Goldberg because his mortal enemy Gunther came back tonight, so he's gonna kind of give Goldberg some nice little head pats. But of course, as always, we are your Weaves of the Ring. We're here to talk about Monday Night Raw. We're here to talk about the graphs. Here to talk about a show that, you know what, I had fun with this show. Just to kind of get that out of the way and all that. Like this was a really fun show to have in Madison Square Garden. A great last Raw for John Cena as well, and some War Game stuff were built upon, and a couple good matches, a title change as well. But we're going to get right into all that discussion here in just a moment. But of course, as always, I want to thank all of our returning listeners out there or returning viewers, depending on if you're watching or listening to us. We appreciate you checking us out and listening in on the show as we talk about everything that happened on Monday Night Raw. But if you're new around these parts, it's all good. It's fine. We don't bite, especially biting too hard, because that's just kind of gross. We're not cannibals around here. Especially, especially me, even though I like my meat and all that, but not you and all that. But of course, as always, quick introductions for everybody. I, of course, am your reigning, defending, undisputed, universal heavyweight champion of the world. I am Watkins here. I'm going to be your guide through everything tonight, through the wrestling event of the evening. And of course, I have with me the genius of the mat himself. He's going to help us process these stories that happened tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, drop this box. Drop, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, and I agree with you as well. I had a lot of fun with tonight's show because they kept it simple. They did what they needed to do
Mm.
here. They didn't really spend too much time on a lot of things. And one thing I can say is I really do appreciate how they actually ended the show early because you would think, how they were going to set up the main event and everything that was going to last a little bit, but they had the heel team come out there, then the faces came out, and then it was just this big brawl. And then you found out who the last two people are going to be on the opposing teams. So I was like, okay, I really liked how they structured the show today. So that's
Hmm.
something I can say that I applaud them for when it comes to the pacing of the show for sure.
Oh yeah, like I didn't feel bored throughout the show. I didn't feel like, oh, it's only 9:30 and we still got half an hour, if not an hour left of the show. Like none of those thoughts crossed my mind tonight. I was just entertained. I was thoroughly sports entertained. And of course some nitpicks here and there about some things that happened tonight. We'll
Hmm.
get into all those here as well as we go through everything. But of course, gotta let you guys know if you are listening or watching the live stream or the VOD, be sure to like the video. Let us know that you enjoyed this content and you want more of it. Be sure to also leave a comment. Let us know in the chat how you doing tonight and what you thought of Monday Night Raw as well. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel as well so you don't miss all of our coverage that we do when it comes to professional wrestling, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, our Grappling with the Week show when we talk about any news that came out through the weeks or NXT, AEW stuff that happens, and of course our PLE coverages whenever those shows happen. So stay tuned for next week as well because it's going to be a little weird with the Thanksgiving holiday. So yeah, just bear with us as we figure everything out for next week, and be sure to tune in when we do go live for these shows, and also tune into our other social media accounts, so like TikTok,
Hmm.
Instagram, Twitter, all that, because we'll have some short form content coming out for everything coming towards us at the end of the year, by the end of the year, and all that stuff. So, with all that out of the way, let's dive right in. As Drop was mentioning, we did get some of our War Games teams set, especially from the men's side. We finally got like our 5-on-5 match teams finalized. We had the Vision come out, and I'm glad, you had said it as well. I'm glad we didn't waste too much time at the end. We just got right into business, right into the brawl, no talking, no bull honkery going on. Nah, we just got right into the hands and right into the reveals, which I mean wasn't really tight kept secret that Roman and Brock were going to fill out the teams and all that. And yeah, so they both came out, they both laid waste to everybody. So yeah, looks like we're getting Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns locking up again too. Now, it's interesting because like we've had many discussions, and as many people know, our feelings about Lesnar being on WWE's payroll again, and whatever have you. But like, it's one thing to look at everything happening like on paper and be like, oh, here we go again. But it's another thing when it actually happens. And I'm not gonna lie, the moment that we got Roman and Brock in the ring again, you kind of start getting all those memories flooded again, all the history that goes between the two. I mean, the last time these two kind of locked up was the beginning of Triple H's reign as head of creative in WWE during that 20, what was it, 2022? Yeah, 2022 time period where Roman and Brock had that last man standing match. So
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be locking up again, almost reigniting their feud. So yeah, the Conquerors hockey was clashing during this moment here. But yeah, how do you feel, Drop, about the the confirmation now of Roman and Brock joining both sides of the War Games match?
So when it comes to Roman Reigns, I'm not really that surprised because I expected him to be in this match because he's been in a lot of War Games matches, so it only makes sense for him to take part in this one, especially if you look at the history that he has with the guys involved on the opposing team. So it's like with Roman, I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense for him to eventually show up, and I really like his new look when it comes to like the one sleeve. He looks
Mhm.
really cool like that because I remember when I saw him, come out and I was watching it on the television, I was like, okay, this dude is really showing off his aura there when he's showing him just walking out with like one sleeve and then the other one is just his whole arm and you just see it there. So
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty cool. But when it comes to Brock Lesnar himself, am I surprised that he's part of this? Yes and no. The reason why I say that is because it made a lot of sense because you obviously had to do something eventually when it comes to that whole thing with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman from a couple months ago. So you eventually had to figure out exactly, okay, when are we going to revisit that again?
Mhm.
But the other part of me that was like somewhat surprised that I, touched on just a few seconds ago is because I never really imagined him being in this kind of match. This just doesn't seem to be a Brock. Well, actually, no, I'm lying when I say that because technically this is like a Brock Lesnar kind of match because you pretty much have him trapped in a cage of a whole bunch of people. So you would think, knowing the character of Brock Lesnar, that would make sense considering who he is. Like he's known as the Beast, and normally
Mhm.
you put a beast inside of a cage, you got the prey in there and everything. So it makes a lot of sense when it comes to the character. Maybe if this was like prime Brock Lesnar and he was like really getting out there doing a lot of things. But when it comes to, the modern Brock Lesnar, when it comes to who he is now, it just caught me off guard because I don't know if he would really have the patience to, wait long enough to really get involved in a match because it's not like one of those things where it's like you just walk in there as soon as the match begins and then everybody, starts fighting each other. It's like there's a little timer and then I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if he's probably, one of the very last people to enter that match and then that's when it starts to officially begin because
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident he's probably going to be the second to last or potentially the last person to get involved in a match like this. So that's my explanation there when it comes to Brock Lesnar just being involved, but now just seeing everything come together here and just looking at like the star power that the base team has now, because you have Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and then both of the Usos there. So you already have like a lot of star power, just looking at that. And then you look at the opposing team, or it's like both of the Bronze, and then you got Logan Paul, you have Drew McIntyre, now you have Brock Lesnar. Like, that's also a really deadly force. And I know we touched on it as we were leading to this event, and as we talked about it throughout our shows when we like alluded to it, we were just saying things about future PLEs that we are expecting to see, certain things happen when it comes to the match predictions that we discuss when it comes to a lot of the shows that we do. Seeing all of it come together now, I can't lie, I'm actually really intrigued to see how this is going to play out, especially when it comes to the competitors that's involved here.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, next week we are getting the advantage match. I don't know who's going to be facing off against who. I would assume like probably one of the Usos are going to be
Yeah,
one of the competitors in that one. The other one, I mean, you could always chuck Logan Paul in there for
yeah,
the advantage match,
makes sense.
but I could see it where the faces actually win the advantage, but the because here's the problem with the faces getting the advantage. And yes, I know I said problem is because the last person out there is going to be a heel, and like you just said, that last person's probably going to be Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
and that's going to be horrible for the face team to have to face and contend with, because like I can just already picture it in my mind where Brock gets into the cage, he just closes it behind him all forcefully and all that. It's like, oh great, we have a fresh Brock Lesnar against like these faces that have been going to wars for the past like 20 minutes or so. So looking forward to seeing who gets the advantage next week. Now, one interesting thing to kind of note in all of this, when especially when you look at the face team, and I'm hoping we get like some sort of like promo from the face team on Friday. Hopefully they're all there to kind of talk about some things and, spit some stuff towards us. Roman is on a team with two world champions right now, both Cody and CM Punk.
Hmm.
So there's going to be a very interesting dynamic, not only just with Roman having to, you know, kind of listen to both of them, there's going to be a power struggle here. Because I'm already thinking just like to the last War Games match where Roman blocked Punk from going into the match and had Sammy go in. I'm assuming we're going to be having a callback to that this year where Punk might block Roman into going into the match. But like you also have Cody there who keeps calling himself QB1. He's the one that's, the leader of the WWE now. Like he's the front boy, the poster boy and all that. So like we're
Hmm.
going to be getting this very interesting power struggle because not only do we have those three, but you got Jey Uso who also is just kind of like I don't want to say he's like in the background, but he is kind of playing almost fourth fiddle to the other three guys because they're on a top pedestal there, whereas Jay currently he's still trying to make his way back up there. So there's the power struggle there, and then you just have Jimmy just in the middle of it all. So like all these factors getting added into it, you could probably kind of see a heel win going into War Games. And I mean, that's just an early prediction. We got to see how the next, SmackDown and Raw go at least.
Hmm.
But any like early predictions you have for this War Games match now that we know the full roster of both teams going into the match?
So I guess one of the predictions I do have is I definitely feel like we're probably going to get something when it comes to Roman and Jay, because we
Hmm.
can't move past that storyline when it comes to, the current Jay Uso, when it comes to how he's viewing things. So I feel like eventually we're probably going to revisit that in the match, because obviously the last time that we saw them together, Jimmy was in the background. So it's like, how do
Hmm.
we evolve that storyline? How do we get to the next step when it comes to exactly, what's going to be the next page of the story when it comes to Jay evolving as a person. So if I had to look at a prediction that I could potentially see, that's definitely one of the predictions because you can't just, build to that, have Roman there to push it more, and then, just forget that it ever happened just because,
Mhm.
Jay's acting pretty chill now and everything. I feel like eventually down the line, you got to figure out exactly like, okay, what are we doing here with that, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Oh no, it does. And like also with, and because I'm glad you started with like the Roman J part. Because that's gonna be something I think people are gonna be latching on to. Because if you remember, I think this was like a month or two ago, when one of the pieces of advice that Roman gave to Jay was, hey, you need to just think of yourself. Like, stop trying to help everybody. Stop trying to like be the good guy and all that. Just think more of yourself. Think about getting to that top and all that. And with that idea, now you can kind of twist it in a way where like Jay might be questioning Roman's motives here. Like, oh, well, you told me to not worry about other people. Why are you now worrying about other people? Why are you now inserting yourself in war games and everything? So we can start kind of telling that story a little bit, kind of moving forward with that, with those character developments as well, because depending on Roman's answer will kind of depend on what Jay does in the match. Like, will he kind of fall in line with everybody, or will he see Roman as he still is, as this uh very selfish like guy who just wants to be in charge of everybody and wants to rule and command everybody with an iron fist? So really looking forward to that. And I mean, of course, Jimmy just being in the middle of everything. I mean, poor Jimmy for one, like having to deal with all these egos on that team. But it's going to be interesting how things play out when it comes to war games, because that face team is going to need to come together in order to beat this team. I mean, Paul Heyman was even hyping up the team before Brock came out there. I mean, you have Drew McIntyre, who is a warrior among warriors. You have Logan Paul, which I mean, say what you want about the guy, his athletic ability is top notch. Like, and they do like to build his punch and all that. So there's that knockout punch for you. And of course, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are continuing to be built up as these next big stars, as these next main eventers for WWE. So yeah, the face team really need to have their things in line and ready to go going into war games, because if they slip up at any moment, they're done. Like, and it's not just like losing the match done. Like, the heel team could really do some damage to the faces going forward and really kind of set a new precedence for the future going into 2026 and WrestleMania season.
Mhm. I agree 100%.
Um, oh my god, yes. But eh, the whole beatdown segment was fun because I think my favorite part with it is because Triple H did his little trope of starting the credits before everything's done and all that. So we got that little caveat in there. Of course, the R farming between Roman and Brock happened, but the fact that you got the quote unquote NYPD involved
Hmm.
in like the post match beatdown, or just the beatdown in general. I thought that was a really nice touch right there. Like actually getting like, I use quote unquote cops because I doubt those are actual cops. Like they normally try to get some local talent to do like these security jobs and all that. But that's besides the point. Kayfabe wise, the NYPD ate spears and punches, ending the show and all that. I just thought that was kind of cool. Little added bit there because again, it's the little things in life to boost up and build up your main event for Survivor Series. Because yeah, this is gonna be the main event. Like nothing else on this card from what we saw tonight can top what we're gonna be seeing from this match and all that. But any other comments you want to make about War Games? Because again, we got the the advantage matches next week. So we'll see which team gets the advantage. I'm sure we'll have some sort, hopefully, we get some sort of promo from either team, if not both teams, on Friday. Maybe then we'll find out who's in the advantage matches and all that. But any other comments you want to make on what we got tonight for the men's War Games match?
Probably not, because I feel like I'm gonna wait until Friday because I feel like we're gonna be getting more answers there whenever we get to that show. So that's probably all I really have to say as of right now, because I feel like we got what we needed here when it comes to finally completing the teams. So next we
Mhm.
got to see exactly, what sort of progression is going to be there on Friday, and then obviously once we go to next week's show for Raw, seeing who wins that advantage match, so it gives us a good idea where everything is heading once we get into the War Games match, that following Saturday.
Yeah. All right. Cool. 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 Well, with that being said, we can kind of move on with our evening because the bulk of this evening, especially with the matches and all that, had everything to do with John Cena. Not only just with the Last Time Is Now tournament, but John Cena himself, because this is his final Raw before retiring from WWE and all that. So, how do we end off John Cena's Raw career in a big fashion? Well, let's just have a six-man tag match. But not only a six-man tag match, we get confirmation of what his match is going to be at Survivor Series. He's going to put that IC title on the line against Dominic Mysterio in a rematch for that IC title. That's happening at Survivor Series, so I'm looking forward to that. I hope at least with match quality, it's a little better than their Raw match because I know I wasn't really much of a fan of their Raw match. So hopefully the Survivor Series one is just a little bit better. But tonight, hey, what we're gonna do tonight for the Madison Square Garden crowd? Well, Dominic does have the Judgment Day with him, so there's Finn Balor and JD McDonagh. So they come out, beat up John Cena like the club used to do. John Cena has backup though in Sheamus and Rey Mysterio. I'm glad we got the six-man tag. I thought the match itself between the Judgment Day, Cena, Sheamus, and Rey Mysterio, I thought it was just fun. Like this is just like good old fashioned, like kind of a house show feel fun. Like you got triple beats of the bottom run, you got triple five knuckle shuffles. I was kind of hoping that John hit a double 619 with Ray, but unfortunately he didn't go for that, which I feel bad for and all that. But yeah, I just thought the segment before this with the promo between Cena and Dom, I thought that was really good. And the match itself, again, it was just a lot of fun. Like nothing too big or bombastic happened with it, but it was just fun. Like that's gonna be just the word of tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Fun, And I don't know. I don't have much more to say other than that. I mean, I'm just glad that we had a decent match to end John Cena's Monday Night Raw time. Um, but Drop, what do you think of the promo segment, the match itself? Um, the how do you feel about getting the rematch for the IC title? Because this is something I don't think a lot of people thought we would get for his final Survivor Series. But yeah, Dom's gonna be facing John for the IC title. How do you feel about that?
So when it comes to my thoughts on how I feel about this match happening, I mean, I sort of felt like we were going to get there eventually because I felt like, it's one of those typical things whenever somebody loses their title, they want to have another shot at it. So I felt like we're going to eventually revisit this. I honestly thought it was going to be tonight because the way that it
Mhm.
felt at that moment, it felt like the match was going to happen tonight, which if I'm being 100% honest with you, Watkins, I would have preferred it to happen tonight only because, and I might be the odd person out here, maybe there's other people that happen to stumble across our show that feels the same way that I do, but I feel like John Cena could be doing a lot more at Survivor Series than facing Dom Mysterio and putting his IC title on the line. I just feel like there's more there because I spoke
Mhm.
about before, he could have potentially have been involved in this war game match, but obviously we're moving past that. That's not really a thing anymore. But when it comes to the match taking place, I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that's like, Is he gonna keep it until his last match, and then whoever beats him,
Hmm.
the title's on the line, and then because they beat him, retire him, they also get this prize? Because I always envisioned with him winning the IC title, outside of
Hmm.
retiring him once we get to that show, that was also going to be the prize as well. So then you got a little trophy piece instead of just bragging rights saying, oh yeah, I beat John Cena. But I don't know if they're going to do one of those things. And I'm not really the biggest fan of this where they have a match and then the person who just won the title ends up losing the next one, where John Cena is going to put Dominic Mysterio over. Is Cena that kind of person to do that? Yes. Do I necessarily want to see something like that? Not really, because it just feels underwhelming to me. I just don't like that, because then I look at Dominic Mysterio where I'm like, well, you're already a main event guy in AAA,
Hmm.
so why does that title matter anymore? That's like my whole thing, because it's like that's
Hmm.
pretty much like you upgrading to be a world champion, and you already are, so it's like, shouldn't you just focus on that? Because they never said that he couldn't defend that title on a WWE show, so that could easily be something that you can throw into the mix when it comes to him and Rey Mysterio, because obviously we're not done with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really care as much about the match, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, it's
Hmm.
not mind blowing like another match that involves Stephanie Becker and Nikki Bella at Survivor Series. I'm not really a fan of that. I'm just going to say that. We'll obviously get into that later. But yeah, I just don't care
Exactly.
as much. But when it comes to like the match itself that Cena had, when it comes to him teaming up with Sheamus and Rey Mysterio, I thought it was a fun match like you. I don't really have much to say beyond that. I thought it was fun. You know, he was able to reunite with Sheamus, who he has history with. He also has some history of Rey Mysterio as well. So I thought it was like a nice little thing that he did with them. Could he have done something a little bit more than that? 100%. But, you
Hmm.
know, they did what they did. We move on. And it was fun for what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and I think the one thing to remember too, or like kind of keep this in your mind as well out there, everybody, is this doesn't really hurt the Judgment Day too much, mainly because they could use this as a little bit more fuel for the hopeful eventuality of the Judgment Day breaking up, especially with like Finn and JD getting fed up with Dom and his antics, because like he basically just dragged them to this fight. Like they didn't have to go out there to do it, but because they're the Judgment Day and they weren't there last week to help. Hey, let's help you out this week, Dom. Why not? And all that.
Hmm.
So it still led to them losing, so they could easily lean into that when they do this eventual breakup. And and trust me, yeah, I feel you, because again, like I said, I wasn't a fan of their first match. Like it was more so for the moment than the match itself and the quality of that match. So yeah, I'm not too fussed about getting a rematch with the two. But I do like the reasoning we got it, because when Dom came out to interrupt Cena, he's just like, you had all this good stuff behind you, because John was willing to fight that tonight, but Dom saying no, like, and here's my reasons. One, you had corporate behind you, so that was BS. Two, you were in your hometown, which was also BS. And three, people just want to keep putting me down because I'm dirty ass Dom Stereo, which that's dirty ass Dom Stereo. So him choosing Survivor Series and kind of in his backyard, like, Dom is showing that, okay, I'm in control now of this fight, because I know, Cena, you're not going to back down from a fight at all. You're lucky we're not fighting tonight, but that was before the 6-man tag came at to be. So it's like, okay, he's already goading him into a fight, and he's goading him into a fight in basically Dom's hometown, which the crowd will be behind Dom there. And it's just like, okay, do we have Dom go over John, or do we keep the title on John here? And with me, with things like this, because I do see, both sides of the coin. I'm just like, okay, I can see the negatives, I can see the positives. My main concern with it is just like how is the execution? How are we going to execute whatever happens? And that in turn, kind of like what happened with tonight with the men's war games match teams being finalized. Because again, I was one of those people. I wasn't really seeing Lesnar being part of the match. It was going to take a little bit more convincing for me to actually see him
Mm.
in the match. And of course, when we get to the match, we'll see how that plays out as well. But, just the execution tonight of the reveal of the team and all that. Um, I was on board with it because again, execution is king. So that's kind of how I am with this Dom John Cena match here. It's like, okay, whatever direction we're going, how is it going to be done? And where are we going to go beyond that? Because, yeah, if Dom does beat Cena, boom, there's a notch in his belt. There's something that he could hold over a lot of people. But then, you lose that bonus gift of somebody beating John Cena at Saturday night's main event. Now they're no longer able to get the IC title and all that. So you kind of lose that little prize. But then, John beats Dom. Okay, well, what does he do after that? Well, the positive, like you said, he's still got the AAA mega title. Like he's still that world champion. So he's still got a title. And I guess for him to go after the IC title again, part of it's just kind of greed, because like that's basically what Judgment Day like to do. They like to get these titles, they like to hold on to them no matter how they keep them or how they win matches to retain or get them. They want to get these titles and they would just want to hoard them and be those greedy little shits that they are. So that's kind of how I rationalize all of this. Now, again, did I want the match? Not really, because I think there's many other people, like Joe Hendry, for example, that could benefit from facing John Cena, even in defeat. But we're gonna go down a rematch tonight or now for Survivor Series for the IC title. But again, just depends on the execution, where they go from there, and how they handle things going forward after that. Because when we start talking about the last time is now tournament, I think we kind of know who's going to be winning that tournament after tonight. But anything else you wanted to add when it comes to like the the 6-man tag and the Survivor Series match we're getting for the IC title?
Probably not. Like, I
Mm,
said my part on what we spoke about a little bit ago when it comes to John and Dom at Survivor Series.
mhm,
So, beyond that, and then beyond the match itself, I feel like I am ready to talk about these tournament matches because I definitely do have a few things to say about them when it comes
oh yeah.
to how I feel about who the mystery opponent was and how I felt about certain matches and everything, and just
Mhm.
basically like how things are going to be structured moving forward.
All right, well, let's get right into it. So, mentioning that mystery opponent for Solo Sikoa, we got the reveal tonight, and it was good old Dolph Ziggler. He made an appearance in WWE yet again, and facing Solo Sikoa. Of course, he was going to lose this match. Like, whoever the mystery opponent was, unless it was over Femi, was probably going to lose this match to Solo Sikoa. Let's be honest there.
Hmm.
But I'll say this because this comes with like two sides of the coin again. It's like with Dolph Ziggler, he's a great worker. He knows how to sell moves really well. Like I mean that Simone spike that he took, he sold that thing like gold. So he earned his paycheck tonight. So having Dolph Ziggler put over Solo Sikoa, fine, cool, whatever. He at least looked good in it. Honestly, if I'm being honest, probably one of Solo's better looking matches at least. Again, like I'll put some credit to Dolph Ziggler being the talent that he is, but yeah, I mean, I thought Solo did look good in this match, and I mean, yeah, again, whoever was going to face Solo if they weren't Obafemi was going to lose this match, which Dolph Ziggler does. And I get the idea of like, oh well, Dolph probably should have gone over in this. I get that. So, but I mean, at the same time, it's just like I could see them pushing Solo more and looking at who he might be facing next week. Because we did get the announcement that he's either going to be facing Finn Balor or Penta. Whoever wins that match on Friday, he's going to face one of those two. And already in my mind, I'm seeing Penta winning that match against Finn, possibly beating Solo Sikoa after that. Like I'm gonna throw that out there too. Like, and that's something I would personally like as well. But that's just speculation on my part. Um, Now with Dolph Ziggler being the surprise mystery opponent, the negative aspect of that is just like, really, out of everybody else, we're gonna do Dolph Ziggler, and I know the whole like, okay. One of the arguments I've been seeing online about this whole John Cena last time is now tournament is this whole idea of, oh, they've got to have history with Cena. They've got to have history with Cena. It's like, on one hand, I get it with some acts. You know, when we first started getting the announcement of who was going to be in the tournament, I had made a mention. I'm just like, you know what? I like how we're getting some people that have a history with Cena taking on people that don't have a history with him. And I thought that was a really great balance to have in the tournament. But, online chatter keeps wanting to say, oh, they need to have history with him. Why? Like, when you look at John Cena's debut, who was he? Even Kurt Angle asked him, "Who the hell are you?" And he said, "John Cena." That was his introduction. They had no history before then, and like that's why, like with some of the people in this tournament, even though they don't have history with John, that's fine. That is a-okay. Why? Because they can make the history by beating him in his final match. Would it have been great for having like Sheamus or The Miz to face him one more time? Yeah, of course it would be, especially for Sheamus, because he could probably beat John Cena and win that IC title. That would be awesome. That would be great. But like the whole point of this tournament and the whole point of like this final match for John is to put over somebody, and I'm gonna use say quote unquote new. Um and we kind of got that with our other match that we'll talk about later on. But like I just want to get that out of the way though, because I've been seeing that take so much in the past week, and I'm just like, guys, can we just sit there and think just a little bit? I get it. You want some of your old nostalgic matches. I understand that. Let's get something new here. Let's build for the future. Like, let's make a star out of all of this. And the person that's probably going to be winning this, Gunther, he's going to look like a megastar by having the year that he had. But that's a whole lot of hoopla. I know I just rambled on a little bit with all that. Tell me, Drop, what do you think of the Solo Sikoa versus Dolph Ziggler match? Your thoughts on Dolph Ziggler being the mystery opponent and all that? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Were there things that were, all right about it? Go ahead and talk to us.
So when it comes to the match itself, I thought it was all right, and I will be 100% honest, Watkins. I really wasn't in sync when I was watching this. I was kind of waiting for us to really move past it because when I was looking at the match on paper, like the way that I was anticipating the match tonight, I thought it was going to be something a lot different that we were getting here. And that's no disrespect to Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, whatever you want to call him. I just felt like there could have been more there that they could have really done. Like they could have had another NXT guy if it was an Obafemi or someone else, or just somebody that's unexpected that not a lot of us are really thinking of on the top of our heads. I just felt like there was a lot of room there to do something creative. I'm not saying that I'm upset that he appeared here tonight because I'm not. I just felt like the way that they've been treating these surprises, they could have done something a little more. So there's a part of me when I was watching this that I was like, it's really cool to see Dolph back. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I mean, let's just see who wins this
Yeah.
match. And I was one of those people that wanted him to win only just to do something a little bit different, maybe spice
Mhm.
things up since the other guy that you had on SmackDown really didn't have the best luck to win his match against LA Knight. So why not throw somebody from TNA, the ball for once and see if they could do something with it because he's fantastic over there. So I would want him to display his skills over here in this company as well.
Yeah.
But we ended up getting Solo Sikoa winning the match. And yeah, I mean that's all he wrote. Just hit him
Yeah.
with the spike and he won the match, and hopefully that gives us a good indication as to, where things are heading for him, even though he is currently involved in a feud on SmackDown. We're just gonna, place him in here, which is perfectly fine. I'm just one of those
Yeah.
people that just wants to give, that opportunity to someone else that I feel like they could take the ball and run with it a lot more. That's why I was in
Oh yeah.
favor with Dolph.
Oh yeah. And no, I feel you completely with that. And I don't blame you for really like not checking in with the match because again, like solo Sokoa matches can be hit or miss. So trust me, I get that aspect to it. But yeah, and I do feel the acknowledgement or like yeah, I do feel you when it's like, okay, we could have had Dolph win over this. We could have had like some interference in this tournament match, which as much as I like how we haven't been getting too much interference, some of these matches coming up kind of could I don't want to say use it, but could really be good storyline beats for some of the stories going forward. Like for example, um the Carmelo Hayes Bronson Reed match that we're getting on Friday as well. I could see some sort of shenanigans going on where Bronson Reed ends up losing that match to Carmelo Hayes. And I would be all for Carmelo Hayes winning. That would be awesome. That'd be fantastic because the winner of that match has to face Gunther. And a Gunther Carmelo Hayes match sounds a lot more appealing to me than a Gunther Bronson Reed match. And again, nothing to take away from either men. It's just there's something I would much rather prefer to see next Monday. And plus, Bronson Reed's too involved in war games, so have him focus more on that. Yeah, which I mean, kind of leads us to talking about Gunther versus Jevon Evans, which was kind of a different match compared to what else we got during the last time is now tournament tonight because this match was pretty damn good. I'm glad that Gunther, first of all, there's a couple things I'm glad about with Gunther. First of all, Gunther's back. I have missed Gunther. And during this match, I'm just like, man, I have needed something like you for the past like few months. So thank you. Thank you for coming back. But not only thank you for coming back, thank you for like not squashing Jevon Evans. I'm glad Jevon got a lot of offense in this match. Really got to showcase his move set, not only just like because we know him as a high flyer and all that. This match showed that um he's got the brains to back it up. And because with this match, he had to do a little bit more than just his normal high flying offense. He had to like do some precise strikes. Like he kept targeting like the back of Gunther's head. Very smart. Get him, off balance like that and everything. So Javon, I thought greatly impressed me tonight on I think this was his Raw debut, if I am thinking correctly with
Yes,
that.
because he's mainly on SmackDown, so it was Raw.
hmm Okay, good. Perfect. So, yeah, Raw debut, thought it went really good. The last thing I want to say about Gunther, I am excited. I am so happy that they brought back the New World Symphony for his entrance cuz like as much of a villain song as his current theme was that he had going to like SummerSlam and all that or I guess that's the last time we heard it. So, as much of a good villain song as that, I'm just a sucker for classical music. I'm just a sucker for some Dvorak. I it brought me back to those old NXT UK days back when he was Walter. So I'm just like, okay, Walter's a bully, and I mean he bullied Javon a lot of times during this match. That's just who Gunther is. Gunther slash Walter is. So I'm just it made me feel a little giddy inside just having that song playing. And I know some of y'all, I get it. It's a taste thing and all that. It's just God, classical music can be such a powerful thing to use in certain circumstances, and Gunther's one of them because he is being built up as that final boss in the WWE, like that final beast, if you were. That's why I still think he's gonna win the tournament and beat John Cena and have like that year because like then his stock is gonna be tremendously up. The only person he'll have to beat to be that final beast is Brock Lesnar, and that could be WrestleMania next year.
Hmm.
Um, but Job, what do you think of the match tonight between Gunther and Jevon Evans? Do you think were you pleasantly surprised or pleasantly pleased that Jevon was able to stand his ground against Gunther a little bit?
So that was one thing I was really happy about was the fact that they weren't using Jevon as a way of just showcasing how strong Gunther is, where he was just throwing him around the entire time. Like he was
Hmm.
actually able to, catch Gunther off guard a couple times, or at least show the crowd what he's capable of, so people don't look at him as like, oh, okay, this guy's just a phony and he's just going to get beat up or whatever. Like you actually
He's a
see
big fat
that
phony.
you actually see that he has the strength to go up against people that are a lot bigger than him, people that could bully him around, like you
Hmm.
said. So I'm glad he was able to do that because if I'm going to be honest, both of them won in this scenario where Gunther won to advance in the tournament. And with Jevon, he also won with the crowd when it shows, okay, I'm the future. They bring that up a lot in the shows. I 100% agree with that. They just show that, yeah, when we put this guy up against people like a Gunther or whoever else he comes across in the near future, don't underestimate him because
Hmm.
this is another guy that also caught Obafemi off guard a few times as well in NXT when they were feuding for the NXT championship. So definitely keep your eyes on him. So I'm very glad that they were able to give a good presentation for Jevon, give Gunther a welcome introduction back to the company when it comes to repackaging him, giving him his old theme, having him walk out in the robe, and just
Hmm.
basically treating this the way that it should, because this was one of the matches I was really looking forward to when it comes to this episode of Monday Night Raw, and I'm glad it delivered. I enjoyed it all the way through. I was locked in, and I'm glad I got all those things that I mentioned because as long as I got what I mentioned, that's all that mattered to me at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I mean, technically, if you want to think of something too, this was technically the main event match
Yeah, it was.
tonight. Like, I mean, yeah, we had our segment, our main event segment, but that's the thing. That was a segment, not a match. So Javon did kind of main event Raw. Really cool. And a Raw in Madison Square Garden, mind you. So I don't know if they actually count that for like, because I think they do something special for like your first main event or something at Madison Square Garden. So I don't know if this one counts for that for Javon, but I don't know how all that aspect of it works. That's more of just like a ceremonial kind of thing. But yeah, also I'm glad you mentioned like just Gunther's aesthetic overall because like with him returning not only with the old music, his robes were different. It wasn't like the fancier robe or like again the boss robe he had. It was more of just like the boxing robe, one that you would wear just to kind of throw off and throw back on after you're sweaty after a workout or beating somebody up in a boxing ring or a fight or something. So it's almost like in a way when you kind of step back and look at like the character of Gunther and why exactly he's coming back, because like the last time Gunther was in the WWE, he had lost the world title to CM Punk. So now he's having to start kind of claw his way back from scratch. So in a way, this could be more of like just a mental game for himself to kind of remind himself of his roots, like where he came back from, where he started as Walter in WWE. Like most of that came with the robe he's wearing today, or an evolution of that. And now he can kind of start evolving himself even more, start leveling up again until the point where he's ready to be back in that main event picture. Because hopefully, the next time he gets that world title, they treat that run a lot better than that first one, which that seems to be like an ongoing thread with a lot of people is their first like main title win is kind of lackluster.
Hmm.
I don't know I don't know if that's the case for everybody, but like it seems to be the case for a lot of people. Like you look at Jay's, you look at Gunther's, I would say to a lesser extent, maybe Damian Priest. And this is just like world heavyweight title picture and all that. I don't know. Do you see it that way too?
Yeah, I see it. It felt like they didn't really take a lot of time to process
Hmm.
what they were going to do because you would think normally if you were going to make somebody champion, you would have a couple people lined up. You would know what sort of storylines you wanted around those said people. But it
Yeah.
just seemed like it was just running around in a circle, not really knowing what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It felt like that a lot, especially during Gunther's reign, which sucks because he's a really good talent. He understands the business in and out. Because again, he sold Jevon Evans like a warrior that he is. And I'm just again, I'm really happy we didn't go the squash route or the complete bully route or anything. Like Jevon was able to show what he's all about. And again, like I'm glad like some of his offense did kind of change a little bit because he had to break Gunther down a little bit. Again, he targeted that head pretty well throughout the match. So yeah, again, there's a way to look good in defeat, and Javon Evans definitely looked good in defeat here tonight. And yeah, like I said earlier, we kind of have our next round matches set for next week. Gunther's going to be taking on the winner of Carmelo Hayes or Bronson Reed. Solo Sikoa is going to face either Finn Balor or Penta. Drop, do you have any predictions on who we might see next week in these next round matches?
I'm probably going to say Carmelo Hayes is going to win his match on Friday. And obviously, we'll talk more
Mhm.
about that once we get there. And then when it comes to Finn Balor or Penta, I'm gonna say Penta. I feel like you got to give a little something to Penta here, even though he's not gonna win the thing.
Please.
So I can definitely see him facing Solo Sokoa next week. Those are my early predictions.
Yeah. I still wish we had a bracket just so we can see everything, but
Hmm.
who knows? Maybe I'll make my own bracket with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget about the bracket. But all right. Well, we're going to move on now. Done talking about John Cena, done talking about IC title. We're going to talk about some other titles, some other stories going on, mainly involving the women that I look at everything. Like all of our mid-card stories and even our quickfire segment is all about the women going on tonight, which good. I'm glad they're actually getting showcases as well for everything that's going on there. But we're going to start first with our women's IC title picture because we had a rematch between Becky Lynch and Maxxine Dupri for the women's IC title. And honestly, this was a really good match. I thought Maxine looked probably the best she's looked yet so far. Um, I I I don't really have any more notes with her. Really, I was thoroughly impressed with her in ring work. I thought she taking that time away to kind of work on a few things. I think really benefited her. I think she seemed more confident in the ring. I think is really the biggest thing, because yeah, there's going to be some slip ups because there's going to be some awkward moments. Obviously, it's kind of hard not to get. It's kind of hard to get around those sometimes, but I think with Maxine, she really was able to think more of. how her body's moving in the ring and how she's like performing moves and just like her overall demeanor in the ring. Again, I thought she was very confident in there. And of course, having the little help of AJ Lee appearance, yeah, that's a big step in her winning this match. But again, I thought she did really well. The whole story of it being like Becky kind of underestimating her as well still. Like, oh, it's Maxine Dupri. I have to like end her now. Because there's also still that hint of desperation within Becky, because it's like, okay, if I lose this, I'm gonna be a laughing stock because Maxine Dupri, how dare she beat me? But there you go, right there, Becky. You lost to a flying crossbody, you know, like not many people lose to a move like that, unfortunately. But yeah, and it also looks like we might be leaning towards AJ Lee and Becky being part of War Games. So there's that little caveat, but we can touch on that here in our next segment. But drop, what do you think of this match? Did Maxine Dupri impress you, or did she disappoint you? How do you feel about getting a new women's IC champion in the form of Maxine Dupri? Is it something that you were hoping we would get, or something that you kind of wish Becky Lynch kept that title for this reason against AJ Lee going forward?
So that's what I wanted originally. I wanted Becky to
Mhm.
keep the title moving forward because I felt like that was the game plan when we were going to revisit that feud between her and AJ Lee, but it seems like plans have changed, or maybe that wasn't the plan to
Mhm.
begin with because it definitely felt like it, considering that AJ was also wearing the title at one point. So in our heads, it kind of felt like that was going to be something that they would eventually do. But I agree, this match was good. It was probably Maxine Dupri's best match. So I am glad that she has this opportunity to be a champion because, like she said in her backstage promo, the hard work pays off. So my next question for Triple H and everybody in creative is that I'm hoping this isn't a feel good moment where you just have her win this title and then that's it, and then you just stop this push with her. Like, I'm really hoping there's some sort of game plan with her because the whole point of having a title like that is having a game plan to move them to the next level. Because depending on the structure and depending on where they move her beyond this, tells us if this was a good decision or not. Because I'm not against it happening, because
Mhm.
it's a feel good moment and I do appreciate having moments like that. I'm just hoping that there's something lined up rather than just feel good and then we'll just have her sitting in the back for a good 2 to 3 months and then she'll have a match and lose it. Like, I'm really hoping there's something here. That's my only concern.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Like, I wouldn't want Maxine to be a transitional champion, because I did think about that earlier today. I was like, okay, if she does win it, who somebody's gonna take it off of her very quickly. But I mean, again, after seeing the quality of the match and how she improved, I'm just like, okay, you know what? Hold on to the title for a little bit. Like, not too long, but just hold on to it for a bit. Have a couple defenses, and then drop it to somebody else, or like drop it to Becky again or something, if that were the case. Because like we could still go down the route of Becky and AJ Lee for the women's IC title. Now, again, execution is king. So it's like, okay, how would we get there? How would we tell that story when we got there? Because Becky had already lost the title here. That almost fell. Um, yeah, I mean, again, I really like this. Again, a good feel good moment too for Maxine. They had mentioned during the match that her parents were there. I'm just like, oh, okay, so she's definitely winning then. All right, then how do we get there? How do we get to the spot with her not only winning the title, but she got pyro. She got like all the fireworks in the arena, which again, really good for you. Really happy for you, Maxine. But just again, like Drop said, where do we go from here? How do we get to the next step? What's the next moment in Maxine's career now? Because again, the IC title, at least on Raw, seems to be building up these women for bigger and better things. Now, say that, but Lyra Valkyrie is barely on the show anymore. But she's doing her own thing right now with Becky, with not Becky, with Bailey and all that. So, hey, oh, there we go. She can freaking get back into the title picture now.
Here you go. That's something.
I just thought about that because like Becky's not champion anymore, so Lyra can now go for the IC title again.
Yep. That was part of the rules.
Oh,
I do remember that.
holy shit. Oh, I just remembered that. Oh, man. All right, cool, good. Well, see, there you go. Now the field is opened up a little bit more now that we don't have that stipulation to worry about anymore. And that in turn can help kind of push that story with her and Bailey going forward with however that's going to end, wherever that end point is. Which, at least they were both on the show tonight. I'll say that. It was in a very short segment, but they were at least on the show. So cool, great, awesome, fantastic. Now when it comes to AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch, when do you see their singles match happening? Like, do you see it maybe at that Saturday night's main event in DC? Well, no, wait, no, it wouldn't be there because they had mentioned that that's going to be more of a main roster versus NXT show. So never mind. Do you see it happening maybe the first Raw of 2026? Or maybe could they push this all the way to Royal Rumble? Like, because this is going to be a big show event.
I'm
When
prob
do you see them having their singles match?
I'm probably gonna say the Royal Rumble. I feel like they're probably
Hmm.
gonna save a big money match like that at the Royal Rumble because I thought before the decision to make Maxxine Dupri the champion tonight, I thought heading into this she was gonna lose the match, and then
Hmm.
that was gonna be the match at the Royal Rumble, not the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series when it comes to Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. That's where I thought it was structured ever since the very beginning. I thought ever since she got that pin on Becky, they were going to revisit that eventually once Becky was done with Maxine, and then you were going to get that match, the following week at the Survivor Series. Like tonight would probably be the night that it was planned for the next
Hmm.
PLE event that they had. But considering what's going on at the Saturday night's main event closing off the year, doesn't really fit there because that's going to be focused on John Cena and all of the
Yeah.
NXT talent. So the best thing would probably be the Royal Rumble, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Because as we saw, and this kind of is transitioning to our next segment of our mid card stories, because we did see Rhea Ripley go up to AJ Lee in the back and saying, "Hey, yeah, let's have a little chat, shall we?" And that in turn makes you think, okay, since Rhea Ripley's talking with AJ Lee, she's gonna try to get her to be a part of War Games, which gives the heels an opportunity to go up to Becky and be like, "Hey, you want to go after AJ Lee? Join us on the War Games side." So we could always tell a story where like maybe Becky and AJ just beat each other up so bad that they're like taken out for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on which team wins, like one of them could easily be written off TV just for like December,
Mm-hmm.
just for the December time. That way we can kind of hold off on or at least prolong the story until Royal Rumble. Because yeah, I agree with you. Like it should be on like a big money match show like that. The only other show maybe if they wanted to bulk up like the first Raw of the year, which sometimes they've done that.
Yeah.
Um, I don't see them doing that this year, mainly because they don't have the whole Netflix deal starting this year. But and plus, like it's not like on January 1st or anything, so it's not really like a special time for it. But yeah, so again, unless they want to bulk up that Raw, it's probably going to happen at the Royal Rumble, like you said.
Yeah, I feel like it is going to happen there. And, since you touched on the whole War Games thing when it comes to Rhea Ripley approaching AJ Lee in the back, that pretty much
Hmm.
gives us a good idea that everything is going to be completed by that next Monday when it comes to us finding out, the final members of their team because we have AJ Lee. more than likely joining them, and then you'll probably have Becky Lynch joining their team as well. So that's going to be exciting because this is AJ Lee's first experience in a War Games match. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to go. I feel like it's going to
Mhm.
go pretty well because she is known as a very crazy girl. And knowing how you're in an environment like that where you have access to weapons and all these different kinds of things, that's pretty much like her playground. So I
Oh yeah.
actually am very excited to see her take part in this. That's like one of the things I really like about war games. Like, is it true that we do get these too much? Yes. Do we always need them? Not necessarily. But even when we do get them, there's a part of me that can look past that because I'm just very curious to see like these new people taking part in
Mhm.
these matches. It's never been there before, especially when it comes to somebody like AJ Lee, who's never been in a match like this, and this really wasn't a thing when she was starting off wrestling all those years ago. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited to see, how that's going to turn out next week.
Oh yeah, me too. Like I'm excited to see how it's gonna turn out. I'm excited to see like because I'm assuming they'll get their advantage match hopefully next week as well, like
Hmm.
the same night as the men. I don't know if they would hold off on until the SmackDown before,
Hmm.
which I mean they could, but I would rather both advantage matches be on the same night just so we can have them and be done with it. Plus, we still need to know who the last one on the heel team side is, which again, because Rhea went up to AJ Lee, it's looking like it's gonna be Becky in there. So
Yep.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Like a lot of people were kind of speculating on that too being a thing. It's just like again, how do we get there? What's the path that we get there? Seems like it's a very yeah, it was a much simpler path than a lot of people thought, which again is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But like speaking of the war games build is we had a little bit of it tonight because we had the Kabuki Warriors. They were in the backstage. They did try to get Bailey to be on their side, but Bailey remembers the past. She's a smart baby face tweener, whatever she is right now. She basically says no, and her and Lyra kind of have a little bit of an argument, a little bit of back and forth, but it's more of like a playful nature. Um, Kind of looking for that story to make some sort of progress in some direction. I would like that. Drop. Do you have any words on, I guess, the Bailey Lyra stuff? Because they haven't really been shown much on TV, but
Yeah.
got to do something with the story.
Yeah. I'm hoping we get like some sort of like direction with that because they just seem like they're not even like there on the show anymore. They're just background
Yeah.
characters because used to have Lyra on television every single week, and I looked forward to seeing it because she always has like these great matches. Like I even saw something over the weekend where she's wrestling Jordan Grace, and I'm like, you're having her
Mhm.
go up against people like Jordan Grace, showcasing her strength against Lyra Valkyria. Like you're putting her in these high profile matches. Why aren't we seeing things like this on the main roster shows? Like, please switch that up. Please do something. And if you're
Yeah.
having her work with Jordan Grace, and since Jordan Grace isn't really doing much on NXT right now, why don't you just have her come to the main roster? I honestly would prefer her to be on Monday Night Raw because there's a field of women that she could work with there, especially when it comes
Mhm.
to, the titles that she can go after and everything. But that's me just walking away from what we just talked about, but basically just getting my overall reaction to that. It's kind of like I want to see something different. So
Yeah.
you gotta figure out exactly what's going with that on with that because it just feels like it's been on pause for so long and they just don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah. And you kind of get that feeling with a lot of stories with WWE. It's just like, okay, w- what are they doing with it? Because they just kind of stopped everything, no forward momentum with a certain story until like a certain point where it's just like, oh yeah, let's revisit that. Let's get back to that. It's just like, oh, so we are getting back to that. Okay, that's fine. Like for a good example of this is the rest of this women's war games build because like we had Alexa Bliss. She went out into the ring and she's basically just saying that she's angry at Charlotte. Like she tried to call and text her all weekend, and she knows she has her phone because a bunch of Instagram photos are going up. But yeah, Alexa is basically just angry that Charlotte basically is abandoning them. She can't get past the whole Rhea Ripley thing, which we'll speak on here in just a second. Because out comes the heel team to beat down on Alexa Bliss, beat down on the other faces of Rhea and Io coming out for the save, and they've got to find a way to even the odds, and that evened odd is Charlotte Flair with a kendo stick. When she comes out, she beats up the heels, pushes them back. She helps Alexa up. She does kind of give Rhea the side eye. So it seems like we're going to be doing that whole can they coexist storyline. So very similar, if you think about it, to the men's War Games match with like Roman having the team with CM Punk and Cody. Now we're getting that with Charlotte, mainly Charlotte and Rhea. Like, can they coexist? Can they work as a team? And I feel like, I mean, at this point, we might get a moment of them in War Games helping each other out. There's also a possibility. I had said this on our Discord chat. I think I said it on there. I don't remember. Um, could it be a thing where Charlotte turns on Alexa during the match? Because like ever since these two teamed up, we always thought, okay, they're gonna break up. This is gonna lead to a Charlotte heel turn again, the face off against Alexa Bliss in the future. How are we gonna get there though? How are we gonna like build up this friendship, this division of the friendship? How are we gonna build up towards it? And this might be it because there was a chance that Charlotte could have just joined the heel team. That her hatred of Rhea Ripley just runs that deep that she's not willing to team with her, so she's going to team with the people that beat her up. There was always that little silly caveat, but it seems we're going this other route, which again is fine. Just depends on how we get there and all that. So Drop, what you think of this? Because I know you had some words about, okay, why is Charlotte here now helping? Like where did we go from Friday when she just said she wasn't gonna do this? So I know you have a few thoughts when it comes to Charlotte coming back.
Yeah, see, that's my main issue with this because if they completely like ignored what they did on Friday, I wouldn't have had any issue with what happened tonight. I just feel like things are convoluted now because you
Hmm.
had Charlotte on Friday come out and then you saw them forming their War Games team. It was her, Alexa, Rhea, and Io. And then she made the comment about her and Rhea having a lot of history. She doesn't really like her. She walked away, and then all of a sudden you have her coming out with a kendo stick, attacking the heels and protecting Alexa Bliss. Could you look at that as a way of her just protecting Alexa because she's really good friends with her? Yes. But at the same time, it's telling me because of like how that segment ended where she was hugging Alexa and then Io and Rio were looking at her, then Io just hugged Rhea in that moment. It's just telling me that okay, we're gonna move past that and then they're gonna form together and then we're gonna get our answer on either Friday or possibly Monday Night Raw next week, whenever
Hmm.
they're doing their, advantage matches and stuff. Like that's something I hope they answer. Like, at the very least, I'm hoping Friday we get some sort of backstage segment between Alexa and Charlotte where they're talking like, "Okay, are you with us now or not?" Like, I really want to know what's going on here because it's like the way that she reacted before goes against what she's doing. Like if she's just out there just to protect Alexa, which I expect that to be one of the things that she does say, that I'm
Hmm.
wondering, like, if she does align with them, is there going to be like certain reasons as to why she's doing it? Is it just for Alexa and her own personal thing, or is there like something
Yeah.
beyond that? Because like she mentioned before, like, yeah, sure, we have like the same enemies in mind, but I still don't like you. So it's like you got to give us like a reasoning as to why she's coming out now, because we know she's going to be in this match now, because obviously you're going to have AJ Lee officially join next week, or more than likely have Becky Lynch officially join next week. So it's like, are we going to get at least some sort of explanation as to what you're doing with Charlotte now that you brought her back into this storyline?
Yeah. Yeah, and I could see it being like, because we did see on Friday she did go and give Io a hug. So,
Yeah.
there's not really bad blood between her and Io. And if anything, there's probably a bit of respect to Io too, because if memory serves right, there was a triple threat with her, Io, and Rhea back when Charlotte won the NXT title,
Oh
and
yeah.
I believe Io beat them both in that
Mhm.
match. Yeah, yeah. I think she actually pinned Charlotte if I remember correctly. But again, that comes from spotty memory with that. I
Mm.
know Io
Yeah, I don't
won that
remember.
match though.
Yeah, she did win that. I just
Yeah.
don't remember how.
Yeah. So there's a level of respect that comes from Charlotte to Io, but like, and I actually saw an edit the other day where a lot of Rhea and Charlotte's story comes from Rhea chasing Charlotte's respect because like how do I word this? When you look at like their Royal Rumble wins in the past few years, like that's like the prime example for all of this. Each and every time, Rhea has almost begged Charlotte to to face her, whether she was champion or chasing the belt. It was always to do with Charlotte, and I think like part of that too is just Rhea. There's a part of Rhea that wants that respect from Charlotte because that's the thing. It's Charlotte freaking Flair, like
Mm,
the name value alone is big enough to get a cosign from. So it's like, yeah, I could win all these titles, I could win all these Royal Rumbles, these elimination chamber matches and all that stuff, but like the one person that's like pretty like let's be honest, Charlotte Flair is like part of the top of the women's division. At least she's built like that. So,
mhm,
in kayfabe, we can say with this conversation, Charlotte Flair's at the top. So Rhea, even though she's gone through all this stuff, done all this stuff, even beaten Charlotte Flair, still can't get the acknowledgement or the respect from you. What more do I have to do then from that? So like I feel like that story is kind of right there where it's just like Charlotte just does not respect Rhea at all, no matter what she does. So it's just like w- we can continue that story going forward when it comes to those two, but yeah, can they coexist is really going to be the biggest question going into the women's war games match, which I feel like they can, at least a lot more than Roman can with Punk and Cody and a little bit of Jay. Um, but we'll have to just see how everything plans out. But I do hope, like you said, we get some sort of backstage segment or promo work to have Charlotte say some of this stuff because it's one thing for us to speculate it and say, "Oh, this is what we're seeing." Blah, blah, blah. It's another thing to like actually just have it be told to us because sometimes you just do need certain things told to
mm,
you, so you're just like, okay, that is how it is.
mm. I agree.
Yeah. But I mean, I am looking forward to the match. So the match is going to be good. I think it's going to cook really well. Plus, if Becky gets involved, her and Charlotte kind of mixing it up a bit. I'm cool with that too. Revisit that little thing. That'll be fun. And now we've reached our our quickfire segments, and oh boy, this quickfire segment. So Nikki Bella attacks Stephanie Vaquer before this in-ring promo that's going to happen, or in-ring interview, excuse me, with Jackie Redmond, um, with Stephanie Vaquer. But Nikki Bella again, she attacks Stephanie, basically demands a title match, saying that she came back not to be some sidekick or somebody's shadow or anything. No, she came to win titles. She came to lead the division. That she left and all that stuff. I'm sorry. I don't know if this was like cut for a little bit of time or maybe Nikki Bella just sucks. I don't know. This was not a good segment at all. Like the beatdown Nikki did not look good. The promos she cut did not sound good. It was just not good, And I mean, I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can because I'm not a Nikki Bella fan, but man, this just sucked, man. But I don't
Uh,
know. Am I alone in this?
no, I agree
Or
with you 100%. I really
yeah.
wasn't locked in with this at all because I was actually looking forward to seeing Stephanie come out to the ring and have this interview and explain exactly, how she feels about what happened last week. But you had Nikki coming out and pretty much saying what you just said to us. And I'm like, I'm just ready to move past this. Like, I get why they're doing it. Nikki's a veteran. They want to give something to Stephanie. So, just like Gunther, if he ends up, beating John Cena, he has something to look back at where it's like, well, I retired that guy, did this and that. You can have that with Stephanie where she's like, yeah, Nikki Bella is a big name in the women's division. I managed to beat her. I know that's the main reason why they're orchestrating this whole entire thing when it comes to the both of them. We saw it from the very beginning of her eventually turning heel once she aligned
Mhm.
with Stephanie Vaquer. So I'm just ready for this match to happen, and I'm ready to get it over with because I don't want to be that guy to say this, but Stephanie Vaquer always has great matches,
Mhm.
and I can't really see Nikki doing anything that's gonna pop out at me in this match. Like, it really feels, and I don't like using this word on our shows that much because I don't want to
Mhm.
dive into the thing I'm about to say, but it feels like it's gonna be a carry job for Stephanie in this match. Like, you're going up against a very skilled
Yeah.
wrestler. It's like if Nikki Bella went up against somebody like Io Sky, or if she went up against somebody on NXT like a Sol Ruka or whatever. It's or even like a Jordan Grace. It's like you're just what's the thing the kids say nowadays? Washed. It's
Yeah.
just washed.
Yeah. Like this segment just sucked. Like I don't have anything else to say about it. It just sucked, and I want this program to be done with. So Stephanie can, because this is the thing. This is just a filler gap for Stephanie. This is just
Mhm.
for her to get a notch in her belt to be like, hey, I beat a Hall of Famer. You know, no other Hall of Famers like Trish Stratus are around right now. So hey, gotta use Nikki Bella.
Mhm.
And I mean, I get it. Nikki has fans, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I just can't be asked. I can't. I just she's not good. I'm sorry. She's just not like,
No, I agree.
and she's not gonna. She can kind of stand with them in the ring, and I say kind of because, like you said, and I don't like using the word either sometimes, but Stephanie Vaquer is going to be carrying that match
Mhm.
heavily. Like she's going to be the one to heavily sell Nikki Bella's offense. She's going to be the one that has to like come from behind and all that stuff and find some way to beat Nikki Bella. Blah blah blah. Like I don't know. I don't see her dropping the title to Nikki.
Mm-mm.
Depend no matter what happens. I don't know. I just it sucked. It
I
was just
mean
bad. And
I
like
mean, hey,
yeah.
somebody has one of my tweets bookmarked for a
Yeah.
specific reason because just to give you guys, a little comedy on our show, I tweeted out earlier that, yeah, Nick, you're not winning this match. And then one person bookmarked that tweet. So I don't know if they're thinking in their head that when Survivor Series comes
Come
and
get him.
she
Come get
potentially
him.
wins it, they're going to pull up the tweet that they have bookmarked and they'll be like, they're going to like put the picture that you see it all the time walk ins where
Oh
it's
yeah.
like something happens like earlier in the day and they say, oh, I don't want this to happen, but it ends up happening like, okay, I mean, if you feel confident in
Yeah.
that, go ahead. But as Watkins said, I mean, it's just a side quest,
Yeah.
not the good kind.
No, no, this is like oh my god. I just realized, so since we've been using the word carry in this, like talking about this match and all that, this is literally oh, what is it called? I just had it. I just had it in my mind. It's an escort mission. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
It's an
pretty
escort
much,
side mission.
pretty
Like
much.
with an AI that just can't follow you
Nope.
at all. They just keep bumping into the walls. You're just like, Come come over here, Dumpy. You gotta be over here with me. Like we gotta get you on this specific Dumpy, come over here. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
come on, cool, neat. Oh, but hey, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of the show. Look at that. Look at us go and all that. Like, again, like, just final thoughts on the show. I had a lot of fun with it. We had a fun opening segment with John Cena, a fun, 6-man tag match going on with that. We had a great women's IC title match. I thought, Maxine Dupri getting a good moment there, a fun tournament matches that we had with Gunther and Jevon, especially seeing Dolph Ziggler back. I mean, also fun. Like again, that sell he had of the spike. Oh boy, like the man knows how to take a bump, and it was just really good. It was a lot of fun, and of course the main event segment, a lot of fun as well. Again, the hockey clash, the aura farming from Roman and Brock. It was just good. It was just pure fun. It's been a while since I've felt like I've had fun with a weekly wrestling show like Raw or SmackDown. So it was definitely a breath of fresh air. I know they can't always be in Madison Square Garden every week or places like Madison Square Garden every week, but yeah, more shows with these crowds that actually enjoy being there at the show,
Hmm.
and yeah, I'm more excited for Survivor Series after tonight than I have been in like the past week or so. But Drop, what did you think of the show overall tonight?
So I agree. I thought this was a fun show. We did have a good conversation tonight when it comes to things that took part in the show. Like Watkins said, I feel a lot more excited for War Games now, especially after seeing the men's side. And I'm even interested in seeing how the women's side of things play out next week once everything gets put together there. So Survivor Series is looking pretty fun when it comes
Mhm.
to the War Games matches itself. I am very happy that Maxxine Dupri became the women's IC title champion tonight. I just really hope they have a game plan for that moving forward. And I'm also very interested to seeing how these other matches are going to be shaping up. I mean, Gunther won his match, Solo Sikoa won his match. Now Gunther has an opportunity to face either Carmelo Hayes or Bronson Reed. And then Solo Sikoa has the opportunity to face either Finn Balor or Penta. So next week's Raw is looking pretty good, especially if I get like Gunther versus Carmelo Hayes and Solo Sikoa versus Penta. I mean, I'm okay with having that as the matches. I feel like those would be some pretty good matches, especially when it comes to Gunther versus Carmelo Hayes, at least. Like,
Mhm.
that's something I am definitely very curious to see. That's something I can't lie. As much as people are betting on Gunther, and I can see it and it makes a lot of sense, Carmelo Hayes, I will say,
Mhm.
is a dark horse in this thing. He definitely
Yeah.
is a dark horse in this thing, and there's a part of me that's also pushing for him to do
Mhm.
the unthinkable because you never know what could happen. I mean, I can see Gunther winning it, but I don't know. I just feel like you got to do something with Carmelo Hayes, man. Like, come on, you got to do
Yeah.
something with that. And also, when it comes to War Games, the go home show for Raw, I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Just hope it's good next week on Monday Night Raw. Hopefully the because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pre-tape SmackDown as well. So
Hmm.
be aware of spoilers next week when you're on the internet and all that. If you don't want to be spoiled on SmackDown, or if you want to be spoiled and save your Friday night,
Yeah.
as you're hanging out with family or on all that. But that's neither here nor there when it comes to that. If you get spoiled on anything, hey, it's not our fault. We'll be careful if we post or like or retweet anything, but blocks exist for a reason on social media. Just use all that stuff. But speaking of social media, again, like I said earlier, we got tons of social media. We got a Twitter, we got a TikTok, we got an Instagram, all that fun stuff. Go find us. We got links in the description below to find all of us on those social media platforms. Of course, we've got our own individual social medias. We've got Drop This Box, you got Watkins MW, Legend D Vash, who again is making sure that Goldberg is safe and sound in his home in Atlanta because Gunther has returned and he got a little chill down his spine. So go talk to us there on all those social media platforms. And of course, Weaves of the Ring on those platforms, and also a hashtag Weaves of the Ring helps us, see how the conversation is going. And it's a great way for you guys to give us feedback so that we can continue to make the show even better, even greater than the stream beforehand. But yeah, we're gonna just call it a night here because Me and Drop both have work in the morning, and it's going to be great, fun times ahead for everybody. So, you know, that being said, we're going to take time to thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, again, follow us on the social media platforms, use that hashtag, give us that feedback. It'd be great to hear from you guys before, during, or after these shows. Love to hear you guys. We are very social creatures, so we'll be there to talk to you guys. Weaves of the Ring is presented by Anima We Studio. Thanks, of course, to our production team for all their hard work for making this show a reality. Thank you once again for joining us. And remember, as always, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see you later on this week for probably grappling with the week, but definitely Friday Night SmackDown.
Have a great night, everybody.